I'm Bruce Tuff, principal of the Tuff Law Firm. We are a full-service law firm serving the greater Woodlands area and the greater Houston area. Contact us at 281-681-0808. We're tough for you.
Welcome to The Legal Fix, a new age radio show brought to you by the Tuff Law Firm. We're the toughest law firm in town with the toughest lawyers around answering your toughest legal questions.
Hey, welcome to The Legal Fix, a new age radio show by the Tuff Law Firm. Answering your toughest legal questions, call us at 936-900-2381. I'm your host, Bruce Tuff. I have boy wonder Brandon Riley here. And super lawyer G.I. Jerome, Jeremy Hall, new daddy, and our special guest is Rob Eissler's in the house.
Welcome,
hey, Rob. Welcome.
And it is a house.
It is a house.
It's a house I've never seen before.
Yeah, so it's the only radio station in the Woodlands, and we're glad you're here. And let me tell you a little bit about why Rob is on the show. I was sitting next to him at the Economic Development Partnership.
Big deal.
And it is a big deal. Rob's a big deal. And wait till I start talking about Rob. Then you'll know how big of a deal he is. But so I'm sitting next to him, and so Gil Staley made a big shout out. Hey, I was on the Tuff Law Firm Legal Fix radio show, and it turned out to be really good. You guys need to view in. Everybody goes, yeah, I know, I love the show. It was really great. And then Rob says, you have a radio show? I go, yeah. Do you want to be on it? He goes, okay.
He's in.
Yeah, he's in. So here he is, totally unprepared, unprepped, and ready to go. So
has not seen the show.
He has not seen the show. He doesn't even know what's coming.
He's
the hot seat, the sunglasses, the hot topics.
Super crushed.
We're really go after him. So,
but no matter what, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Ding. So, ding, we're going to count those. So, Rob and I are great friends, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Rob, the Rob I know. So, when I knew Rob was involved in the chamber as a chairman of the chamber. I knew he was in Rotary. I knew he was in all kinds of other organizations. My next door neighbor, Will Mattern, says Rob Eissler has coached every kid in the Woodlands. Now they're all about in their late 30s or mid 30s,
and
right?
Early 40s.
But yeah, so he's coached all his kids. He coached his sons who were on the state baseball championship team. Basketball, I know Craig's got a record at Woodlands High School as the #1 three-pointer, and that record still stands. And you told him when you were coaching Craig, what did you tell him about shooting three-pointers?
Well, I told him, a good shooter's not afraid to shoot, and if you're hot, you shoot. And if you're not hot, you keep shooting until you are.
There
Amen.
you go. There you go. So Rob and I worked on Rob's campaign when he ran for state rep. He served us in the Woodlands, probably one of the best state reps we've had for 10 years. Prior to that, he was a Conroe Independent School District trustee. He was president twice on that board. They should name a school after you. You're amazing. How long did you serve on the school board?
18 years.
18 years on the school board.
Wasn't long enough.
Now, prior to all of that, Rob Eissler went to Princeton. He's an Ivy Leaguer. Princeton. Architecture degree.
Used to be smart.
It used to be. So architecture degree, and then Rob enlisted in the Navy. He was based on a carrier attack pilot for the USS John F. Kennedy in the United States Navy. What kind of plane do you fly?
A6s and A7.
Okay.
What are those?
Well, the A6 is a twin-seat, twin-engine, all-weather bomber, nicknamed the Intruder. It could do radar bombing. Mostly flew at night because the plane was too ugly to fly in the day.
So Rob told me a story. You all seen that Top Gun movie, right? Top Gun movie
sure.
where
Tom
Cruise does the cruise by to the ship, and Rob says, you know why they call him the captain of the ship? Because he's really a captain. So Rob did one of those cruise bys, low flying, and then you told me the story, and then I realized who's really in charge, the captain, right?
Right, and it cost me about a week.
Is that all?
Yeah, I got grounded.
Did he get coffee burn?
It was a good look. It was a good looking pass. I actually turned on the wing dumps and then rolled the plane. so it would be a little corkscrew. But I was going too fast, and a piece of the tank, the gas tank underneath, fell off. That's how I got caught.
Whoa, shenanigans.
So, Rob, tell me what it's like flying an attacked aircraft, landing on an aircraft carrier in the night. Those are like little postage stamps bouncing up and down in the water. How is that, Rob? Is that a fun thing to do?
Well, it's kind of a necessary thing because there's no place else to land.
I remember Rob had one comment about his Navy pilot flight service. He goes, "I've had the same number of takeoffs as landings."
Yeah,
right?
That's always the key.
Is it a key?
You want the same number.
That's super important.
That makes sense.
So, Rob, when I worked on Rob's campaign, Rob served as the state rep for representing the Woodlands area in his district, and he was chairman of public ed. And Rob served for 10 years, and chairman of public ed, he created the financial accountability system for school districts. And it created the model that's used today, right? And you learned that from how? You just made that up, or did you?
No, I didn't make it up. I happened to sit next to a couple of geniuses at a luncheon in Houston, and they told me they could rate the performance of school districts and correct it for demographics and cost. And I thought, man, I've been looking for you for years. I said, where are you based? I need to come see you. They said, the Woodlands.
Oh, man. So we're going to take a break, Rob. We're going to come back. We're going to put you on the hot seat. We're going to talk a little bit more about what you're doing. Okay. You've got such a rich background in history, so we can have a lot of fun with you, and we'll see you right back. Hey, welcome back to The Legal Fix, a new age radio show hosted by the Tough Law Firm. Call us with your toughest legal questions, and for our guest, Rob Eissler, at 936-900-2381. Rob, we didn't get finished doing all the introductions. What are you doing now?
Well, I'm the executive director of the Westwood Magnolia Parkway Improvement District.
And what does that do? Tell us a little bit about it.
The Improvement District uses a penny of sales tax from businesses within the district that collect sales tax, and we make improvements. It's an improvement district. And,
With 1 penny?
1 penny per, well, it's a percent. And we build roads, we build infrastructure. In fact, we've got a couple of projects now that I'm sure people would be interested in.
So the most significant is all the improvements in 1488 and Research Forest Extension, which I am so grateful for, because if there's only one way to get out of the Woodlands, you're driving to the freeway, and if that feeder road is packed, you're stuck. But it's fortunate I have an access point through Research Forest, so thank you for doing that, Rob.
Well, that was before I became executive director, but that was one of the bills I passed in the legislature when I was a freshman, and I was approached by people in Magnolia. So we don't have a good way to build infrastructure. Would you sponsor the enactment of an improvement district? I said, sure. What's an improvement district?
Well, your hands were in the Town Center Improvement District. It was really the only model for development, because when you're restricted, that is the model to use, and it's probably the best model because the funds are going directly to improvement, nothing else.
And the best part about it is money is spent. I mean, money is spent on improvements where people are taxed, and it's at the transaction. So
it's at the local level. It's at the people who are benefiting, directly
keeping local
benefiting.
dollars local.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, we're going to put Rob Eissler on the hot seat.
Let's do it.
He doesn't even know what he's in for, okay?
No,
all right,
it's
Carlos, put the timer on.
You're on.
All right, we're on. How do you spell Eissler?
EISSLER.
Are you related to Dwight Eisenhower?
No, but I like Ike.
Isn't it true that you wear glasses just for style?
I do, but that's only when I'm in a focus group.
Are you a Tiger?
From Princeton.
What's the Princeton rally cry?
Beat Yale, Harvard, and anybody else that shows up.
Not Penn.
Were you a mischievous kid?
Yes.
What type of hair product do you use?
Well, 10 fingers.
Have you ever rocked a mustache?
Yes. Back when I was a naval aviator.
A bristle brush? Yeah,
A bristle brush.
a bristle brush. How much do you bench?
How much do I bench? It depends if I want to be a carpenter or not.
Name your least favorite child.
I have none.
Have you cried in the last year,
Yes.
month,
Yes.
week,
Yes.
day?
Give me a minute.
Do you have a will?
I do, but I don't have a way.
Do you have a prenuptial agreement?
No, because I had nothing going in, and I'll probably have nothing going out.
Do you consider yourself a front row Methodist?
I probably by definition,
What Sunday service do you attend?
8:30.
TWMC.
In fact, I was born a Presbyterian, but I was predestined to become a Methodist.
Ding!
What's the biggest lie you've ever told?
Ooh, and got away with?
Anyone?
I'm from the government, and I'm here to help you.
Yeah. Do you believe in absolute truth?
Yes. John
Awesome.
8:32.
What's the most
Nice.
humble job you've ever had?
Most humble job? Probably my first job. I was 11 years old. I cleaned out rented fishing boats for 50 cents an hour, and I was worth every penny.
Oh, barnacles. How much money will it take for you to retire?
I don't know yet because I haven't made it yet.
What's one thing people don't know about you that you want them to know?
That I'm really competitive.
Assuming you're the top dog, who's the second best state rep?
The second base state rep. Well, you know, the best state rep I ever knew was a guy by the name of Brian McCall from Plano, Texas, as a matter of fact. He's now the chancellor of the Texas State College System.
Shout out
In
Brian
fact,
McCall.
they're at, at Lamar and Texas State.
Rob has a story behind every
In fact, I
answer. Did you
told
notice
him-
that? This is the hot seat.
I told him that they need to make this the student guidance book, you know, the rule book, at Lamar, the Cardinal Rules.
We got to keep it hot. What is the best kept capital secret?
You talking about
At the Capitol in
capital
Austin.
gains, or are you
With
talking
the
about
O, with the O.
In the
oh
in
Capitol
Austin.
like Capitol Records, the one with a
Yes.
hole in the middle?
What's the best kept secret at that big building in Austin where you worked?
Ooh, that the best kept secret. I would say that everybody in there who works has a job that's very important to the state.
What's your least favorite elected official?
Joe Biden. Well, wait a minute, that doesn't count. He wasn't elected.
Shots fired. Which elected official spends the least time in the mirror?
The least time
In the mirror.
in the mirror.
Correct.
Oh, you mean somebody that doesn't know how bad they look?
Sure.
Well, there are a few of them. Can I go back to Joe Biden?
Yes.
We'll accept
as,
that answer.
as a lobbyist, do you prefer to lobby in the lobby?
I have done that. But
Favorite political movie or show?
favorite political movie, The Candidate.
What's
You
your
remember that
favorite?
with Robert
Yes.
Redford?
Yeah, no, well, he
and
was
all
running
that,
for governor of California.
Because I did the
or
same.
senator.
I did the same thing when I got elected. It's like,
Now what do I do?
Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Sum
now
up
what
your,
do I do?
Sum up your life philosophy in a word or phrase.
say that.
Sum up your life philosophy in a word or phrase.
Nothing's free.
Give us your favorite pun.
Well, the one that when I can't think of anything else, you know, when somebody said, "Hey, Rob, give us a pun," the one that I use is, you know, puns are bad, but poems are verse.
Who's your favorite celebrity you've met in person?
Ooh. Let's see. Well, I met George W., but lately he's not been helpful. Tommy McDonald, Philadelphia Eagles,
Trump or DeSantis?
Trump,
Top
and then
unchecked.
DeSantis.
And then DeSantis.
What's your
We're
top
talking 12 years.
top unchecked bucket list item?
Ooh, top unchecked bucket list to be on this radio show.
Nice.
Stranded on a desert island, what's the one item you'd take?
Satellite phone.
Incorporation. Vasap or Ish don't think so?
Each don't think so.
Well, like they say near the end of the alphabet, why?
Are we at 5 now?
Would you rather take an axe to the head or be beat to death by Mike Tyson?
Well, Tyson would be faster, but that reminds me of the Three Stooges when they were asked, "You want to be burned at the stake or had your head chopped off?" He said, "A hot steak's better than a cold chop."
If you could live in another era, what would it be?
Oh, how about 2100?
Would you rather eat live octopus or fried raccoon?
Fried raccoon.
What
Because that live octopus will stick to your mouth.
What are you most afraid of?
The end of this show.
What's the fastest you've ever gone in a car?
To the B in brake on a GTO in high school,
Whoa.
where the brake light was in between the 0 and the 120. I got to the B in brake. Don't worry, it was at night, Mom.
Oh, man.
One food for life. What would you eat?
If what?
One food for life. What would you eat?
What? One food? Vanilla.
Who's smarter?
Extract?
Huh?
Vanilla extract?
Vanilla ice cream.
Okay.
Who's smarter, you or Steve Toth?
In what subject?
Eva
Politics.
Guzman or George Bush? George P.
What's
Bush.
that? Say that.
Eva Guzman or George P. Bush?
Well,
Running for Attorney General.
I know.
Oh, but you want Paxton, right?
Ken Paxton's a good
okay.
friend.
Okay, got it. All right.
Yeah.
Rusty Hardin or Tony Busby?
Well, Hardin is good. I got to meet him. Maybe I put that on the celebrity list
Why does Deshaun Watson need so many massages?
because people rub him the wrong way.
Ding, 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 ding. Did you love the hot seat?
That's great.
Yay.
It gives me openings.
Attaboy.
All right, let's take a break. We
I got one. I got
One
one more for
Okay.
Rob. 100-yard dash. You versus Rick Perry's Dachshund. Give us the first line of your concession speech after you lose.
Well, it's another get along little doggy.
All right, we'll be right back. Thank you, Rob Eissler.
go.
Great job on the hot seat.
I'm Bruce Tuff, principal of the Tuff Law Firm. We are a full-service law firm serving the greater Woodlands area and the greater Houston area. Contact us at 281-681-0808. We're tough for you.
Hey, welcome back to the Legal Fix New Age Radio Show with our guest, Rob Eissler's in the house. Thank you, Rob. Did a great job on the hot seat. He kind of pushed it back on us a bunch,
he
so
did.
really did. It was our longest hot seat ever. Okay, so I've got a few things to tell you about Rob. Rob, it was also a Continental pilot, so you were a professional airline pilot as well. You had your own company.
My past
Eissler,
was up in the air.
president of Eissler Associates. So Rob did a lot. Rob served on the school board with my father, Colson Tuff, and Rob was telling me at one meeting that they had. Now, back then in the day, they used to have these big contentious meetings and they'd last forever. And he goes, on one of our school board meetings, we had my birthday and your dad's birthday, and we celebrated them both at the same time. Now, how did that happen?
Because
Rob?
I'm born December 6th and your dad's born December 7th.
And the board meeting lasted past midnight.
Past midnight.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just one of those crazy things. So I was talking with Nelda Blair, and we actually are all past chairman of the Woodlands Chamber of Commerce. And Rob came into the meeting, and we were having a briefing on what past chairmen do and getting an update on what the activities of the chamber are. And Nelda started in the story and said, yeah, Rob's in the house, and they're giving him an award. And Nelda was on the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the founding chairman of that, and Rob was receiving this distinguished award. And if you got a little flavor from the show, Rob kind of cuts up a little bit. He throws a few puns out there. He can't stick to a script. I'll tell you that. If you tell him, here's what we're talking about. So we go to this event, and it was for the Silver Spur Award. There was 1,000 people in the convention center. We walked in, we couldn't believe it, and it was on a rotunda, so there was a round thing. And I said, Rob, are you speaking at this? And he goes, I don't know. And I go, Rob, please, you got to do this. But do you remember that, Rob, that event?
I do.
And you were sitting with Anita Perry, the wife of our governor.
The governor, right.
Yeah, Rick Perry. And she was presenting you with the Silver Spur Award for, I don't know, whatever you did. Something magnificent, I guess.
Maybe they named a rail out of town for me. I don't know.
Well, it was a great event. It was well attended, and you made us very, very proud. And I can tell the delegation from the Woodlands, our home hero was just doing great. So
Did he speak? Did you
yes,
speak?
oh, he did. He came up. This is the whole point of the story. It was one of the best speeches I ever heard. So he nailed it. He nailed the speech. There was another one. I invited him to speak at one of the clubs. I can't remember if it was Rotary or Lions or something. And Rob came in. He had just driven in from Austin, and he came in before the meeting. And we're having breakfast, and he goes, "What am I talking about?" That's what he did, and it was another one of his best speeches. So
that was one of the. I was asked to speak to a group of educators. That's all they told me, and I'd been invited, and I got called like the morning of, and I said, "Well, the session's going to take a lunch break." I said, "I can come down there," so I go to this hotel, and I asked where this group was. I'm thinking, 15, 20 people. I'll give them an update of what's happening. And as I hit the door, they started introducing me. And I got to the podium. And by the way, there must have been 2,000 people.
Whoa.
It's like the place was packed. And so I bent over to the lady who just introduced me, and I kind of whispered. I said, "Well, how long am I speaking?" She said, "You're scheduled for 50 minutes. I said, 50? And she said, "Yeah." So you just have to tell more stories.
Yeah.
Oh my!
You
How
got
do you
enough
handle
material.
that? You just tell more stories. You just
Right.
have more background reference
Yeah,
material.
you give a few extra examples. And when I was chair of public ed, there are a lot of people out there that are pretty smart. So I did a lot of reading, and I read all the latest books and policies. And so often, if I get stuck with a speech, I just do book reports. Like Malcolm
Right.
Malcolm Gladwell. His books were great. Like
which one
David
of his, tell me one of his books, Mark.
Well,
Malcolm
David and Goliath, for
is
example.
one for sure. Right.
Okay,
right.
and I used that. In fact, when the governor was running, when he was just the attorney general, they asked me to come in and talk to him about public ed because he wanted to be governor. And I said, well, I'm here to tell you some of the juiciest myths of public education. And he said, like what? He was still the attorney general. So I said, well, since you put it that way, I'll go for the juiciest one first, and that's class size. I said, you probably think smaller classes are better. No. He said, yeah. I said, that's not the case. So I explained, and I took an excerpt from Malcolm Gladwell's book, David and Goliath. Every chapter is about one situation that looks completely one way when it's actually the other
way.
Okay, chapter 1 was David and Goliath, and they talked about the weaknesses of Goliath and the strengths of David, and the last line of the chapter was it was as if Goliath was facing somebody with a .45 automatic. I mean,
Yeah, that prepared, that skill.
well,
that,
he was a slinger.
Yeah.
They were trained since childhood to be able to hit things with a slung pebble. And oh, by the way, the Ur River Valley had pebbles that were more dense than any place else in the area.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just all the details.
Yeah.
And then chapter 2 was about class size and talked about optimum class size. And by the way, 3 of the top school systems, top 5 school systems in the world, Japan, Korea, have classes greater than 35. Okay? And he showed in this chapter 2 about 29 is the optimum size, and we have a law that's 22-1 K through 4.
yeah.
And by the way, if we added 1 kid per class in the United States, we'd save $12 billion a year.
Amazing.
And
yeah.
in Texas, that comes out to 1.088 because about 1 of every 10 American school children is a Texan. These are just
So this is so that makes it easy. All right, I'm gonna change subjects real quick because Rob was the sponsor of the legislation in the Texas House for the regional participation agreement that set the Woodlands free from the city of Houston, and that legislation is in place 2057. We're not going to be annexed by the city of Houston ever till 2057, and this new legislation prevents it as well, House Bill 6. And so what do you think of this, Rob, about this big incorporation debate that's going on, and are you for it or are you against it?
well, we carried legislation, and I helped further refine the legislation to enable the Woodlands to incorporate, because incorporation was the best defense against annexation.
Right.
Now, once the legislature had, in fact, the last two, in 17 and 19, they passed Senate Bill 6, and then there was a follow-on. Senate Bill 6 showed that any county that was over 500,000, there had to be an election for anybody to be annexed.
So we're never going to get
Well,
annexed
in
by
19,
law.
that was made every county.
Yeah, so every county.
So, right, it's not going to happen. So there's really no need to incorporate, because there's only one township in Texas, and it's the Woodlands. It's got the best deal anywhere. I mean, the county takes care of our roads. We subsidize the police, but court system, roads, water taxes. You know, when Kingwood was annexed by Houston, the first thing that they all complained about was their water bill, because Houston took over the water system.
And the rates go up. They go up like crazy.
They went it was like a geyser bill, not a water bill.
Yeah. All right. Well, Rob, thank you. Any questions for Rob, guys, before we sign off today? I want to thank you for coming on the show, Rob. We appreciate you. Late notice, coming in, just kind of like when we say, what are we talking about today? Well, talking about everything.
Exactly.
I have a question about the improvement district.
Yes.
What is it called, your new improvement district?
Well,
Magnolia Parkway?
It's the Westwood Magnolia Parkway Improvement District, short for WIMPID.
WIMPID. And how long has that been going on? How long has that been in off or created?
It was created in 2003, my first session in the legislature, and then they kind of a fallow period, and they got going again in 2011, and that's when they punched Research Forest through.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's 34% of the sales in that area come from the Woodlands zip codes, because people from the Woodlands just come right to Research
through.
Forest, and you got Zonti Restaurant, and you've got a Target and a Home Depot, and
That's what I want to ask you about,
and we got an
actually.
Ace Hardware coming in too.
The extension. During the incorporation debates, Gordy Bunch has said that the Woodlands Parkway extension was moved down a little ways and renamed, and that it is up to the Woodlands whether that project continues or not. James Noack says, niche, it's not. What say you?
I say I have drone pictures of the land already cleared, because WIMPID is building that road.
So you're building it.
Well, we're building half of it, and then the other half is some developers.
It's needed to go to 249. How
Yeah,
the heck
it's
you
the
get
249.
connect with 249? If you ever driven through that area,
Oh, yeah.
it's so congested and you can't get
Right.
around. So
Right.
it's just about mobility. I mean, it's about
Exactly.
planned thoroughfare and mobility that works. And Montgomery County is very good at doing that, and that's why we're one of the fastest growing counties
Right,
in the state of Texas.
and we are, and in fact, WIMPID's also going to landscape the median when they widen 1488 again, which
is
will
needed.
be soon.
Which is needed. That's going to be wonderful too.
So did you move it just a block away and rename
It's-
it just to trick Gordy Bunch?
It's well, actually, now if you want to know the truth about that, the land right across from Woodlands Parkway is owned by the
Howard Hughes?
Yeah, Howard Hughes now, and that's what Gordy did control. Okay, that the use of that land. So Commissioner Riley just moved it down to Mansions Way. So you go Woodlands Parkway, a quick left and a quick right. It's a couple hundred yards.
And you're connected through.
And then it follows the exact same route once it goes back around.
Is it going to hurt the Woodlands with more traffic?
No, it's a two-way street.
It actually alleviates traffic. All right.
Nobody knows that it's a two-way street.
Two-way street.
Yes, sir. Rob Eissler, thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure.
We
Thank you
really,
so much.
we really enjoyed having you. You're a great guest.
I enjoyed it.
We are going to sign off. Thank you for tuning into the Legal Fix, and we'll see you next week.